The guardian angel of Israel. Does Israel have a guardian angel? Perhaps. Seems it does. According to tradition, Michael is the guardian angel of Israel. Michael was originally the patron saint in Christianity of England, till it was replaced by King George. Now I believe that Michael was the patron saint of Russia, but even so we find descendants of the 10 tribes of Israel to be in the British Isles and amongst Western peoples, and not so much amongst the Russians, even though for a short period of time there was a nation in Russia known as the Khazars, who were descended from the tribes of Israel, but most of them converted to Judaism and joined the Jews. And it's something that we have spoken about elsewhere, and it is another subject. Now we're speaking about angels. An angel in general is a shaliach, an emissary, a messenger. It comes from the Hebrew word malak. The word malak in Hebrew can mean a messenger, a human messenger, or can be a spiritual entity sent by God. It depends upon the context. And angels are mentioned in the Bible quite frequently. And different Jewish rabbis and commentators have explained that everything that the Almighty does, He does it through angels. Every action is carried out by an angel. So that's something for other people to concern themselves with. Now we are concerned with the concept of angels as it interacts with the 10 tribes and has bearing upon the subject of the 10 tribes. That is what we deal with. That is what we are occupied with. We are occupied with the subject of the 10 tribes. We're occupied with research, revelation, revealing the information, and reconciliation, working towards the reconciliation of Judah and Israel. The 3 R's of Abraham: research, revelation, reconciliation. That is what we are about, and that's what we are concerned with. I repeat, the 3 R's: research, revelation, that is, or recognition, bringing this knowledge, revealing this knowledge and bringing it to the recognition, to the awareness of other people, and revelation, working towards the reconciliation of Judah, of the present-day Jewish people, and the 10 tribes of Israel. Now we are about to discuss the angel of Israel, and what bearing it has on our subject. When the children of Israel came out of Egypt, they were delivered from Egypt by Moses. They came out of Egypt through great miracles, and they passed through the Red Sea into the wilderness, and they began their wanderings in the wilderness. And they were told, God said to them, see Exodus 20, verses 20, Exodus 23, verses 20 to 24, God says to them, behold, I send an angel before you to keep you in the way and to bring you to the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Do not provoke him, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. But if you indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy to your enemies, an adversary to your adversaries. For my angel will go before you and bring you into the Amorites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Canaanites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. You shall not bow to their gods, nor serve them, nor do according to their works, but you shall utterly overthrow them and completely break down their sacred pillars. This angel, we are told, he has the name of God in him. Beware of him and obey his voice. Do not provoke him, for he will not pardon your transgressions. For my name is in him. That's what God says. His name and in him. And this, as the Malbim, a famous commentator, the Malbim, and others have remarked, this meant that in effect it was as if God himself was together with the angel, and through God himself was directing matters through the agency of this angel, and he was doing so directly. An angelic being, as if to say, at a high level. And later, the people sinned with the golden bull calf, and once again, God said He would send an angel before them, and who would lead them. But this angel was to be at a lower level, and Moses didn't want it. And he persuaded God not to go back and continue to go out with them. It says the angel, the people sinned with the golden bull calf. God was angry with them. He said he would send his angel before them. Exodus 33. Then the Lord said to Moses, depart and go up from here, you and the people whom ye have brought out of the land of Egypt, to the land which I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying to your descendants, I will give it. And I will send my angel before you, and I will drive out the Canaanite, and the Amorite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Go up to a land flowing with milk and honey, for I will not go in your midst, lest I consume you on the way, for you are a stiff-necked people. That's what he says. He says he will send an angel before you to drive out the other people, the foreign peoples who you have to drive out, and I will not go up myself, because I am liable to wipe you out on the way. So what does this mean? So it is explained that this angel was going up to him with a lower rank, and he would be the equivalent of the angels who rule over other peoples. Each and every Gentile nation has an angel ruling over them. And God said that he wants to send such an angel before them, an angel that would be theirs, like the other nations have their own guardian angels, and this would be instead of God himself going up in order to, and he would do this in order to save them from his wrath. God, the people were human, and they'd already committed adultery once, were liable to do it again, and history shows that they did so. And if this angel of lower rank were to lead them, then if they sinned, they would not be punished so severely. This was before, because it was if to say the angel who would lead them would be at a lower rank, and you would be less involved with them, and that God himself would be less involved with them, as if God himself would be distancing himself from them and acting with them through an intermediary. Therefore they could not be blamed by worshipping an intermediary as they did in the case of the golden calf. If however God himself was more directly involved with them, then they would be more culpable. As it says in you only have I known, and Amos says, you only have I known out of all the nations of the earth, therefore will punish you for all your iniquities. That's what he says in Amos 3 verse 2. So this is what we should realize, that favour or God being close to us also involves obligations on our part, and it is dangerous. If we do not live up to expectations, we are liable to be punished. Whereas if the expectations are lower, we have less to live up to, and we are less liable to suffer because of it. Israel were meant to be a special people. They were the treasure possession of God himself. In Deuteronomy 14:2 it says, for you are holy people to the Lord your God, and the Lord has chosen you to be a people for himself, a special treasure among all the peoples on the face of the earth. Whereas on the other hand, the nations of the earth, the other peoples, the non-Israelite nations, were to be ruled over by intermediary powers. In Deuteronomy 4 verse 19 it says, and take heed lest you lift your eyes to heaven. When you see the sun, the moon, and the stars, and all the host of heaven, you feel driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord your God has given to all the peoples under the whole earth as a heritage. The Lord has taken you and brought you out of the iron furnace, out of Egypt, to be its people and inheritance as you are this day. And here it says that the stars and the elements in effect belong to the non-Israelite peoples. And the angels, it is implied, we find in the Bible, that the angels are compared to the stars, that there is a connection between the stars, between astrological or astronomical forces and the angels. That is how the world is ruled or conducted to some degree. Isaiah speaks of a personage called Hil ben Shahar, the morning star, the light of the morning star, literally in Hebrew. In English, his name is translated as Lucifer, son of the morning. Is in Christian theology is often identified with the Satan, with the devil, and perhaps in Jewish mythology and theology it is the same. At all events, this Hillel ben Shachar represents both a real military power in the Bible in historical times and also a spiritual entity in the heavens. As it says, Lucifer 14, it says, how you fallen from Isaiah. Isaiah 14 says, how you fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning, Hillel ben Shachar. How you are cut down to the ground, you who weaken the nations. For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will also sit on the mount of the congregation on the farther sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, I will be like the Most High. Yet you shall be brought down to Sheol, to the lowest depths of the pit. And so too we find that every nation has its own guardian angel, and this guardian angel is responsible for that nation. Isaiah speaks of the final judgment day when the Almighty will punish the earthly powers as well as the spiritual ones in heaven that are parallel to these earthly powers. Isaiah 24 says, and it shall come to pass in that day, the Lord will punish on high the host of exalted ones, and on the earth the kings of the earth, one against the other. Kings of the earth already have hosts of exalted ones, spiritual beings, angels above them, who correspond to them, who will watch over them, who are responsible for them. And Daniel is told by an angel that this angel tells Daniel that he would have to fight the prince of Persia, the prince of Yavan, meaning that is Greece. The word for prince, seen from the context, Asar in Hebrew, the word this means a spiritual angelic being who represents this nation. Daniel 10, verse 12, it says, and he said, you know why I've come to you, and now I must return to fight with the prince of Persia. When I've gone forth, indeed, the prince of Greece will come. By this he means, as we may be seen by the context of the verses, he means the angels, guardian angels of those nations, whom the other angel will fight against. Each nation has its own guardian angel. The rulership of an angel is less strict and less direct than that of God himself. You see, if God steps back, he allows an intermediary to intervene, an intermediary which has some degree of independence. And he distances himself, and because he distances himself, so therefore if the nation in question also worships God through intermediaries, or in a less direct way, he is less punished. He's not punished to such a great degree as he would be if God himself ruled over him. This was the whole thing of coming out of Egypt. When they came out of Egypt, as if God himself very directly had an angel in which my name is, in which the name of God is within. So God himself almost ruled over them very directly. And when they sinned, he wanted to replace him with an angel of a lower status, but Moses would not allow it. Would pleaded that it not be so. And Moses' request was granted. But nevertheless, so therefore, we are being punished for it. We are liable to be punished for it. As we said, Amos 3 verse 2, you only have I known of all the families of the earth, therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. Because God is so close to us and helps us and has been available to us, amenable to us, we are expected to conduct ourselves at a higher level. And when we don't do this, we are liable to be punished for it. Whereas if we were less favoured, we would not be punished. And so this is also connects up with the fact that when the Israelites came out of Egypt, and Moses went up to the mountain to receive the Torah, and he was there for some time, and the Israelites miscalculated. They assumed that Moses would come earlier than he did, and they thought Moses had disappeared. Therefore they asked Aaron to make them some type of intermediary. They call him Elohim in Hebrew, meaning, which is translated as gods, but it can also mean God, the God, our God, or it can also mean angels, or it can mean powerful beings, or powerful men, or judges. There's several different possibilities, all of which we have to judge by the context as to which is being implied or which is being intended. And so this is what they wanted. They wanted some type of a force or some type of being to be created who would replace Moses instead of Moses. And they wanted something that would intercede for them, like an angel does. The initial intention was not to replace God, with something else, but rather to replace Moses. And therefore God was angry with them, and he wanted to punish them very grievously. Moses managed to alleviate the punishment, but then God said that he would send his angel to go before them for their own good, not to expose them to his future wrath. They should commit idolatry again. Moses, however, persuaded God to lead the people himself, to continue leading the people. And this meant that the presence of the Almighty would always be close to the Israelites, but it also meant that if and when they sinned, they would face severe punishment, as Amos says, Amos 3 verse 2, "You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities." And so we see this principle. We see now it's quite clear, and this reflects upon the lost 10 tribes. The lost 10 tribes were in the land of Israel. Well, say within the land of Israel, they worshipped other gods. They copied the ways of the nations around them. And then they were exiled for having gone in the ways of the other nations and for worshipping foreign gods. And there was a reason for it. The Almighty wanted the lost 10 tribes to fulfill their national purpose in exile by becoming similar to the nations, to the Goyim, to the non-Israelite nations, to go down as if to degenerate to a lower level and then evolve upwards and bring the rest of the peoples of the world with them upwards to a higher level. And this is what they have done. But it was also the fact is that they would not be able to maintain any type of level that they had been expected to do in the land of Israel for some time. And therefore the Almighty, from a spiritual point of view, divorced them. He says, for all the adulteries of the faithless one Israel, I sent away with a decree of divorce, see Jeremiah 3:8. So too, Hosea 1:10 says, you are not my people. The Israelites temporarily would be divorced in a spiritual sense. And the Talmud also discusses this and affirms our understanding of it. So Yevamot, page 17. And for the duration of the exile, the 10 tribes will have that spiritual status of non-Israelites. They'll therefore be at the level that the Almighty had wanted the Israelites to be after the sin of the golden calf. And so this is an understanding. Maybe the declaration that God made concerning after the sin of the golden calf, when he said that he would send his angel before him, maybe this was prophetically to be applied to the lost 10 tribes when they would go into exile until they return. And so we see this is the status of the lost 10 tribes at this present time. They are at a lower level because God wanted them to be able to fill a certain task which they needed to lower themselves to a certain rung in order to do it, and they'd already voluntarily, as if to say, for their own culpability, pull themselves down. So the Almighty did not necessarily want them to come up straight away, or he allowed them. He gave them an out, he gave them an exit, as if to say, so that it would not require them to elevate themselves too much beyond the level they were already at, but to continue in the path they had been going, but to use it for good, to use it in order to fulfill the destiny that had been predicted for them and that they had been created to fulfill. And so we see that for this reason too, in the period of the exile, from a Jewish point of view, from a Jewish religious point of view, the 10 tribes may be Christians, because Christianity for non-Jews is not considered idolatry. For Jews it would be. Therefore the 10 tribes may be Christians from the point of view of the Jewish religion. Now we know that Christians who believe in their own religion, of course, believe it to be true, and perhaps believe it to be more true than anything else, may be offended at this, and they also may want to convert Jews to their own religion, but they should not do so, because from a Jewish point of view, a Jew who becomes a Christian loses his Judaism, and God does not want them to lose their Judaism. And also they may look at the bright side, look at the positive side of this concept. This understanding enables Jews and Christians to work together on matters concerning the lost 10 tribes and proving who the lost 10 tribes are and spreading the information. May God be with you. Thank you.